Hello, hello, hello again, and welcome back to another episode of the Summer Spotlight 2020. I am your host, Gayle Nicholson. It's so good to see you back again today. And I have the pleasure today of introducing you to a woman who blew my mind about a week or so ago. Oh my gosh, I can't even begin to explain. We did a session together, and she like shifted stuff that I have been carrying with me for years and years and years. And I don't know if you can tell from over there, but I am a completely different person. It, I can tell from over here. So I am so excited about getting to introduce her to you. I hope that you have the chance to reach out to her and get such an amazing impact like I did. But here she is, Miss Shawna O'Meara. She is an intuitive theta healer. And she has a website going over at ShawnaO'Meara.com. So, Shawna, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm feeling overwhelmed by that introduction. Thank you so much, Gail. I'm really excited to be here. And I'm really glad to hear that what we did last week had a positive effect for you.
It really, really did. I gotta tell you, like not even 5 minutes after we finished talking, my hubby, uh, that I had been not speaking with for 2.5 days at that point, came out and hugged me, and the total energy of our relationship shifted. And you and I know what we were working on, so it was just like that was out of left field, and what a bonus delightful side effect to have had, right? So that was phenomenal. Thank you so much for that. So today we want to
I
talk.
didn't think
Okay.
it, I was gonna say I didn't think doing an interview with me unless you'd had an experience would be valid.
You know what? You have made a very, very good point. It is, it really does help the host to know a little bit more context about what it is that the guest is doing. Sorry, I don't know if you, well, you know who Johnny Carson is, right?
Yes.
Well, there was always a difference in the quality of the interview, whether he'd read the guy's book or not. You could always tell, right? And so
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. I think it makes a huge difference. So, what are we going to talk about today?
Wow. What would you like to know? Holy cow, how do I explain myself?
Well, first of all,
Uh,
begin by telling me your name, what you call yourself, and what it is that you do.
okay. Well, my name is Shawna O'Meara. Um, for lack of a better descriptor or quote label, which
Mm-hmm.
I try and stay away from because we're always shifting, changing, and moving in our lives. Uh, my gift in life was to be a medical intuitive.
Nice.
Yeah, not an easy road. I come from a history of father was an osteopath
Mm-hmm.
and then later became a psychiatrist. Mother was a nurse, so I came from a very, very left side medical background.
Uh-huh.
So this sort of when I created or however you wanted to start, came up with type 1 diabetes when I was 2 years old, and the world was telling me that I was going to go blind, I was going to lose my kidneys, all of these things, because that's all they knew.
Mm-hmm.
Some little spark in the back of my head said, oh, no, you're not. And oh, no, I'm not.
Nice. Nice. That's phenomenal. So that ended up taking you into the realm of eventually, I know, theta healing. Can you tell us a
Yes.
little bit about what theta healing is? Because it's not something that even among the law of attraction or metaphysical community that you hear a whole lot about. But man, is it impactful.
Yeah. Um, it was created almost 25 years ago by Vianna Stibel.
Mm-hmm.
who was able to completely instantaneously, after a lot of work, heal herself of lymphoma and bone cancer. And her conversations with Source, Spirit, God, however you want to put it, basically said, I will teach you more, but you must take this out and teach it to anyone and everyone who is open to learn. So she made a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and in essence, we are going into the theta brainwave, which is just below going into deep meditation, just above the sleep level.
Okay.
What happens then is when we connect with Source, we're able to go in and find, of course, with taking the classes and learning, clear the belief systems that our subconscious holds. They can come from this lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
They can come genetically through our parents, our grandparents, on down the line, past life, ancestral. It's all part of our DNA. It's all part of the energy we hold. When we find the limiting belief systems that keep us saying, I can't be rich, or I have to be poor, or any number of things, pretty soon by finding them, resolving them almost instantaneously, and giving us what we refer to as a pure knowing download, which is the feeling, actually having the feeling. Most of us think that we know what it feels like to be loved. That's intellectual.
Right.
When we get that pure knowing, which takes 0 seconds with this work, then we experience it. Our whole life changes.
That's
I'm supposed to be dead, blind, amputee, blah blah blah, but all I do is tick off my doctors because all my labs and everything else come back so perfect and just keep improving after all these years that it just scratch their head at me. It doesn't seem I don't use Western medicine to monitor, make sure I'm
mm-hmm.
keeping good track, but it gives me great insight on the places that perhaps I could use a little work, or belief systems that are holding me back from healing or moving forward.
It
It's an
really
amazing it's an amazing way to live my life. It's taken time, but it's a daily practice.
and it is amazing the impact that that has on you and your ability to keep those monitors in the green range, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Every
it's
time you feel a monster going off, it's like, okay, this is getting out of range. What's going on?
yeah,
What's going on?
that's incredible stuff. Now, I know that you are kind of transitioning, right? Going from the theta healing that you've been doing for a long time inside of the structure of another business into moving out on your own and beginning to integrate other skills and talents that you have with it. So tell me a little bit about that. What inspired that change? What's been the process for you? How close are you to actually, making the full 2 feet in the new world?
Yeah. Well, I created my own website, ShawnaO'Meara.com, because I'd had the original Theta with Shawna when I started the Theta Healing 14, almost 15 years ago, and became a teacher and been doing it for and teach. Um, Yet there was the other part of me that went, wait a minute. These gifts that you have been given and are constantly practicing, keep enhancing, expanding, that's you. You are not the modality. You are you.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it comes from people who have had chronic illnesses or acute, really serious things, getting underneath when they started, why they started, how it may be benefiting them, which many times it can, without even knowing it, as well as to their everyday life. I don't want to go out. I don't want to do this job. I don't. Well, how's it benefiting you to stay limited?
Mm-hmm.
And what small practices and things can you, because you're unique, every single person is.
Mm-hmm.
Every single person is here to make a contribution. It may feel small, but everyone that you come in contact with, it impacts everyone on a very subtle level.
Mm-hmm.
So owning that and knowing that, yeah, everybody, everybody
That
needs
is,
to know.
I got to be honest with you, at a certain level, that switches from, wow, that's really cool to, wow, that's really scary. That's a lot of responsibility for people, right? How do you, you know, no matter what choice I make, it's a butterfly effect. It is going to ripple time. It is going to affect everyone, no matter how subtly on the planet. Um,
Yes,
so, what do you do in that space of, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Let's do this.
it comes down to, even for me, as I tell students, clients, if you walk up or you're walking somewhere and you just smile at somebody, say it may be a bum on the street or any number of, that smile could be the very message to them that the world isn't such a horrible, cold place. And maybe, just maybe, rather than taking their life or something much worse, there's a reason to get up and to do something different. Those very subtle things can make such a huge impact. And if that's all you did on a daily basis, what contribution can I be and receive?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you've just impacted the world. You don't have to go out and create this big, huge new. There are those that that's how they are oriented.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a whole bunch of us that hold the infrastructure of keeping it subtle so that we could all continue to have that ripple go out and know we made the difference just by being who we are,
Right.
not having to be anything else.
That's incredible. And wow, that's really powerful too. I mean, having that knowing. Now, let me ask you, how did you begin like developing and choosing what it is that you wanted to take with you from Theta Healing into ShawnaOMeara.com?
Because I came from such a background of, like, probably about 90% of us, of chaos and tragedy in my own family life,
Mm-hmm.
I went, you know what? Everybody right now is feeling fear, is feeling, oh my gosh, how are we going to do it? Um, Chronic illness and all these things just exploding on the planet. Like, well, you know what? What if each and every one of those things could be just by clearing out the shock and the trauma that our body carries as a memory to
Mm-hmm.
keep us safe so we don't encounter it again?
Mm-hmm.
What if we can soften that? What if we can soften that for everybody, regardless of the circumstance, providing they want that for themselves? So those that are ready and saying, you know what, one of my lines, so to speak, is, what in your life would you like to change?
Mm-hmm.
And it's irrelevant how small it may seem, but it may have a huge impact on everything else for you. And that's what matters.
Right. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Now, tell me a little bit about your process. Because as a medical intuitive, I've known a number of medical intuitives around the world. And
Yeah.
each, like you said, each person is individual, each person is unique. So when
Yes.
you're working with somebody, what is it that happens that helps you see what they need to have addressed?
Okay. So, someone contacts me and I ask them, okay, what would you like to change? What's going on that you would like to change? We, in essence, have a conversation. I'm given the insights, whether it's a medical condition or just everything is just going chaotic and they just don't know what to do. Doesn't have to always be about a medical thing, but they're all related because the body responds to our emotions chemically, and the chemistry, the hormones, the brain, everything changes. So we go under, I ask questions. We go to a certain circumstance they may talk about. I start asking questions. We get to the one key phrase to shift that is keeping them held in that state of mind, that tape that keeps playing that they can't seem to get out of or let go of. We have that pulled and, in essence, erased so that, and then replaced with a positive from source, a download as we call it, so that now your brain has somewhere positive to go. Rather than going to that direction, it comes back here. And it becomes a whole new way of you allowing yourself to shift. One of our sayings is shifts happen.
That's cute. I like that.
when
Awesome.
we're ready to allow it.
Yep.
When we're
Very
ready to
true.
allow it.
Very true. Now, how are you different then from other medical intuitives?
How am I different? Ha. Well, in essence, I'm going to work with you directly. This is not a paper punch. Everything is the same because you are unique. Your set of circumstances, although human beings semi-similar, I'm going to connect with you and give you the opportunity through source to have new feelings and emotions that you may never experienced.
Okay.
So if you didn't know what it felt like to have peace or balance in your life because you came from a household of chaos, we're going to shift that. You're going to get that opportunity. Also going to give you tools that you use on a daily life that helps you grow, being even more than you are in this moment by tomorrow, because it's a daily thing. Every day we have the opportunity to shift and to grow.
And
And
I
to be
got
able to
to
recognize.
interrupt you and give you props for that because that is very real. Absolutely. This is not just you blowing smoke. This is you actually I was a slightly different person the next day than I had experienced myself for a long time. I mean, as far back as I could remember, right? And there was this sense of no matter how hard I try, I'm never going to be a successful business person. No matter how hard I try, I'll barely be able to survive financially. No matter how hard I try, whatever that kept me suppressed like that. And it was like the symphony of my life has this oboe that plays this same low note constantly. And the next day the oboe was gone. You know?
Yeah.
So yes, please do continue. I had to accentuate that point because that was what was so amazing for me. Because as many coaching programs as I've taken, as much energy work as I've done, even on myself and having received from others, no one had ever taken the oboe out of my symphony before. And everything's so much lighter now.
Yeah. It's I had many of my own things to really, 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 really work on. It's a daily practice for me. So giving people that first step of, oh, 90% of the time somebody will come, they'll do a session and they just look at me like, what just happened? It's like, well, you got to let go of things that you didn't even know that you were holding.
Mm-hmm.
Subconscious is intelligent. It creates all those limiting programs to make sure we survive. Well, most of them have outgrown and are no longer serving us. So when we're able to move them, shift them so that they were just a reference point in the past and not something we're living in the present. We get to be here now and go, oh, what else is possible? And when we allow ourselves that, create pushing away the limits, it took me some time on several things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, why not? Why not?
Right.
You know,
What
we're
else are you
only
gonna
as
do?
yeah, yeah. I never thought I'd be doing things online via computer. I just started teaching a couple of the classes online because of the shift in things. It was never allowed before. We always did everything in person.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm teaching people in Greece, Las Vegas, Ecuador, and the United States all together, and their shifts and their things are all shifting.
That's incredible.
So it's like, yeah, it's of course I'm always going to want to do it in person. I always am because
Mm-hmm.
I love people and I think it's important. But under the circumstances, I'm sure not going to let it limit me if I can't be right there with you.
Right.
I
Right.
do most of my phone session work over the phone. When we hook up, I can see exactly what's going on energetically with you. I get a picture. It did not start out that way. It is strange. Okay. It is strange. It's like having a Zoom meeting where I've got 5 participants, but it's all about them at different phases of what's going on. It's like, okay, then.
Yeah, I know.
And this
I
is
know
coming from
when we were.
somebody who's so left brained, you know, and medicine oriented for the majority of her life until I went, yeah, no, you guys are missing something.
Yeah, yeah, that's a statement, understatement of the world. Um, I have shared that in that the Western medicine is a two pronged stool. They work with the body. They might even delve into working with the mind among psychiatry, but the spiritual component in that system is missing, and there is a huge cost to that because in
Yes,
fact it's spirit, the energy in your, your being that actually facilitates the healing, right?
absolutely.
So they're trying to
Absolutely.
replace that by something else, and it's just not carrying the day.
Well, and I do tremendous research on a regular basis. My little
Mm-hmm.
left brain analyst and researcher
Mm-hmm.
comes in handy. And so I can go in and I can look and go, huh, okay. So this person is having continuous stomach issues. They're giving it a label or a symptom, but what are they holding there that is not allowing them to digest life? What emotions are stuck there? And half the time, a few shifts in working on those things and maybe cleaning up the diet somewhat to make
Mm-hmm.
healthier choices to really sustain this amazing vehicle that we get to play in.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first things I tell people, do you realize that your body does over 1 million processes per minute? Per
Wow.
minute. So that means you have 1 million opportunities every second by shifting how you feel, what you eat, what you're doing to change, to heal. 1 million opportunities every single minute.
Mm-mm-mm. That's that's mind blowing. I don't think that most people can hold that in their heads, like as a
It took me a
real thing, right?
yes, but that's fact.
Mm-hmm.
That's scientific fact. Considering we have trillions of cells, each one is creating energy, an opportunity for healing and doing its things. Like, wow, do you
Yeah,
realize how much influence you yourself have?
that's awesome.
A lot.
Yeah.
So making friends with it and going, hey, what can we do today outside of you son of a bleep 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 and you're failing and you're my enemy because you're not doing what I think you should do. I've had plenty of those very very deep things that I've worked on for myself,
Nice.
and I've taken it and done it with others.
Well,
Boy,
when we were working together last week, you at one point you had mentioned to me, "Oh yeah, the landscape. I can see the landscapes of your life are shifting." Right? Like visually,
yep,
you were getting pictures.
yeah.
Would you like to share about that if you recall? I know a lot of people don't remember after a session is done what occurred during the session, but if you can, do you want to share what that's like?
Yeah, that just came back. When we do what we recall term belief work, and the opportunity comes that now you actually know what it feels like, that it's safe and it's possible that you can have plenty of financial prosperity and stability, and you always have the opportunity to create more opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Once you got that and let go of the fear and the place of being stuck, this is how it's been, this is how it's always going to be, and the fight and everything else, your whole energy of your body shifted.
Mm-hmm.
So that means everything that you are now putting out to the world and inviting in is of a completely different energy.
Mm-hmm.
If we walk around going, I'm a victim, well, that is what the energy is going to attract to you. Like attracts like.
Mm-hmm.
And that that knowing has been around for a very long time.
Right.
So surrounding yourself with people who are good for you, that treat you well, um, and upgrading that, but first and foremost, looking in the mirror and treating that most magnificent and most important person in the world that you see in the mirror well
Mm-hmm.
sets up the example and the energy of how others
Mm-hmm.
will be wanting to treat you. And
Well,
those that refuse are
kind of
just,
fall away, don't they?
yes, they do. Yeah,
You
they
know,
do.
they take
Yeah,
themselves out of your life without you even having to take a whole lot of
yes.
action in that way. I gotta say, for the week this past week since you and I worked together, I have noticed a distinct difference in my being and the words that I say during my sales conversations. And once I heard this stuff coming out of my mouth, I went, "Oh my God, that was from that." From working
Yeah,
with you, because there was no other that would just have a natural shift occur like that. I wasn't trying to say things differently. Who I was being had different things come out of my mouth. It
yeah.
was mind blowing, and it works. I've gotten 2 sales in the last 10 days. You know,
That's
yeah. So thank you, thank
that's
you, thank you. I cannot give you enough props on this. I swear it's awesome.
it's when people are ready, um, and everybody has a different come from.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody does. It's one of the running jokes for me and my students. And when I'm teaching them, if you're going to have clients, um, you're going to have clients that are going to be like truckers that just walked off, or say they walked off a ship, and expletives and all of those things in their language. Get comfy, get comfy. And you're going to have those that aren't
Mm-hmm.
comfortable there.
Yeah.
And this work has nothing to do with any race, religion, creed, um, any of those things. It's about you, the individual, you, the individual, and what works for you. And we are guided to find that for you, the individual, because that's what it's about, helping you make the difference to be everything that you are and more that you didn't even think you could be.
That
I've
is.
tried to walk away many, 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 many times and go back to corporate America. Um, and every time the universe pops back in and says, oh no, here's 3 people that are in this, that, or the other. Or I'd say, I have bills and I can't do this. Either you send me or I'm doing that other thing. And within nanoseconds, it used to take a few hours. Now it's like big, big, big. And all of a sudden it's like, wait, in a level that I can handle, please and thank you. Be careful what you ask for because the universe always delivers, negative or positive, because it has no, doesn't know the difference.
Right. Yeah,
Oh,
the energetics of the universe is that it is a huge yes machine. It
yes, it
does
is.
not judge what you're asking for, it just says yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had
Awesome
to
stuff.
close my mouth a few times and go, cancel, queer, delete. That is not what I meant. Please don't send that. Thank you. This is truly what I would like to have.
Mm-hmm. You know, and it's very interesting because I think that there is, we have to be able to operate as human beings, right? So, created into us before the age of 7 is an always running 24/7 recording machine. And then at particular emotional spikes, it goes, keep that snapshot, keep that snapshot, keep that snapshot, right? And then we grow up after the age of 7 going, prove that snapshot, prove that snapshot, prove that snapshot. And when we get those snapshots out of the way,
Yep.
we can draw another picture. We can draw colors in, we can draw experiences in because those snapshots are not blocking the way, right?
Yep. They go into the old photo album.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you'll have it on the shelf, and with time, as you create new pictures and new being here and now with new colors, those old ones may eventually end up in that box that goes in the closet.
Mm-hmm.
They come off the shelf and they go in the closet because they no longer really have the reference. Yes, they were helpful in getting me to be where I am now
Mm-hmm.
and becoming who I am,
Right.
and a contributor in some ways, and I'm ready to graduate, and I've moved on from them. Thank you with gratitude. Done.
Right. I don't know if you did or not, but I know a number of people that grew up in a household where their mom took, got the school pictures every year. And every
Yep.
year the new picture went in front of the old picture in the same frame because that old picture just, it wasn't um, indicative of the current state of affairs, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was a quite a few pictures that never came out because no one really wanted to see what was indicative of the time.
Mm, yeah.
So there's a lot of us may have very different come froms of
Mm-hmm.
how family things worked out.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is absolutely okay. All right, now talk to me about what you are offering our guests today, because this is pretty impactful, and the
Yeah.
potential if this is mountain high, big time. What do you got?
So as a if you'd like to give me a call, email, etc.,
Uh-huh.
I will do a half an hour basic virtual chat with you, give you a small sample of the work I do so that you'll get a sense of it and then decide if it's something that's going to work for you or if you're ready or willing or if there's something you want. You know, I tell people, you know, do one session, check it out, but I'll give everybody the opportunity to play, chat with me for half an hour, and I will tell everyone humor is the greatest medicine that I use because when we get to that place of laughter, our whole body, our chemistry, everything changes. And if nothing else, we will have a really great conversation, I can tell you.
Fantastic. Awesome. All right, so what is the best way for our viewers to reach out to you to get that scheduled?
Okay. Best thing to do is you can send me an email through my website.
Okay.
Um,
Which one? ShawnaO'Meara.com?
yeah, yeah, Shawna at ShawnaO'Meara.com, and you've got the spelling and everything there.
Yeah.
A little bit Irish, perhaps, but
Just
that is
slightly.
who I are. Maybe a bit.
Maybe.
Even though there's other mixes in there, thankfully. And then you can also call and leave a message. One of the things that I really ask people to do, because I do both local and international and across the United States, when you leave your message, please make sure you tell me what time zone you're in and the best time to get a hold of you. Really important. If I'm talking to somebody in New York, or like last night, my client in Ecuador, those time frames, this afternoon I will be in Greece. So setting up those time frames is real important. Make sure you leave a phone number for me to call you back. That's the best one.
Excellent.
Really important.
Excellent. Good, good, good. So either by email or phone, reach out to schedule that time. Like I said, I cannot gush enough about the short period of time that we were together last week. It has changed not everything, but it changed a very specific part that nothing else could change for 50 years. So I am grateful, very grateful.
I
And,
get it.
sorry,
I love hearing that. It's just like, yay, made a difference.
big time.
And that's going to ripple out. So not only one person did I assist, I probably assisted a whole lot of people
Well, I
through
can't,
you, like you changing.
exactly. I mean, all of the people that I'm going to touch from here on forward, you have changed as well. Or potential change, right? Because of dealing with the changed me. Now, do you have any final thoughts for our audience before we send them on their way into a productive life today?
Yeah, the one thing I'll tell each and every one of you, whether we like it or not, change is imminent. So you always have a choice no matter what anybody tells you. And I will say, choose to make your choices in your benefit. Know that you always have the choice. Know that we're constantly changing. And as long as we resist, something is going to persist. So choose how it is that you would like to move forward. And if I can help you make those choices, feeling good about it, feeling more confident with less stress, anxiety, or whatever may be the underlying, it would be an absolute pleasure for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for not just for what you've done for me, but what you're doing for the world, and for spending this time today talking to my audience about what you could possibly do for them. Um, you are so integral to the healing of the individuals on this planet. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for continuing to come back when spirit keeps going, nope, back over here. And
Yeah.
I bless you with all the good success that I possibly can. Thanks so much for being here today, Shawna.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right, Facebook, have a fantastic day, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye. When you open energy work, makes that recovery progress so much faster. That recovery is possible. You do not have to live as a victim until your last days. You have unbelievable strength, and I know that because you're still here. Do you want to create something completely unrecognizable with your life? I can show you how.